Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and it's Women's History Month, and I'm here today to talk to you about Batman, Mystery of the Batwoman. This came out in 2003. I remember I was in college, and I saw this, I probably like at Best Buy or something like that, and I'm all like, oh man, another Batman animated like movie. I gotta buy it. So I bought it. And this is an extremely good movie. I mean, it's really good. It was directed by Kurt Gita. It was written by Michael Reeves. It was a story by Alan Burnett. And of course, Alan Burnett worked on Batman the Animated Series and Static Shock and all those other DCAU shows from back in the day. And it was produced by Margaret M. Dean. And so, like, at that point in time in my life, I never knew who or what Batwoman was because of the simple fact that she came out back in probably like the 80s or something like that. And she was introduced primarily to make the readers believe Batman was straight. Because at a point in time, or maybe she came out in the 70s or so. I can't really remember. But anyways, it was a point in time in comic book history that people assumed Batman might be gay. And especially because he was hanging out with a little boy, aka Robin, and there was comics back in the day of showing him and Robin sleeping in the same room at night, but in separate beds. They did the same thing with Superman and Jimmy Olsen back in the day. I remember when they did stuff like this, and it was just always odd. Like, why is a grown man sleeping in the room with either a little boy or a teenager or a grown man in the terms of like Jimmy Olsen? It was just weird. And it made people question that. So she was introduced to be a love interest to that of Batman. And she wore this bright yellow costume, which is really ugly. She had a purse and all this other stuff. After a while, she just disappeared and everything. And for many, many decades, she just was irrelevant. Like, you know, they had Batgirl, so they was happy with that over at DC. And so, like, you gotta remember, this is also before the days of, like, what's her name? Kate Kane, that's it. Because Kate Kane didn't come out until 2006. So this movie literally predates it 3 years earlier. So yeah, a lot of the concepts in this movie were later added to, like, you know, the comic book when it came to Kate Kane. Like the bat symbol on her chest, like, you know. But you can clearly tell a lot of stuff was swapped out, but they kept kind of that reddish pink kind of look. Now in this movie, her costume is all silver and pink. But in, like, you know, the comics, when it comes to Kate Kane and everything, her costume is all black and red. Also, Kate Kane is a lesbian. Now, there is an interesting nod that this movie does that's never been confirmed, not even by, like, the actress. The actress won't even confirm it. She'll just, like, you know, skirt around the bush and everything when it comes to, like, this question. But anyway, so yeah, this movie is part of, well, you know what? It's never been official if this was canon because nobody over at DC Warner Brothers ever confirmed that this movie was canon or not. Because Bruce Timm did not work on this at all. And so, but you know, Alan Burnett did. And it has the art design of the New Adventures of Batman. But instead of being hand drawn, it's all done in computer, similar to how Batman Beyond was in season 3 and stuff, and part of season 2. So I remember when I saw this, I'm like, man, these are some nice clean lines. They got some nice bright colors and everything. But one interesting thing about the background is that every building has grain on it to make it look like brick. I appreciate that. Plus, it's a nice nod to old hand-drawn animation when there was grain on the camera and stuff like that. But oddly enough, there's grain on a lot of stuff in the background, even things like a boat. And I know a boat's not made out of cement and stuff. And but yeah, it was nice to finally have this series in nice bright colors. It was nice to see Batman not always blending into like the shadow of black. There were times where he had highlights, and then there were times in here he was blended into the darkness and stuff. Because in the New Adventures, there were times where his hand and his cape will overlap, and you couldn't tell where his hand was at and stuff. Now, I will say one thing that irritates me about this movie still to this day is that every single last black person in this movie is light skinned. There's not a single dark skinned black person whatsoever. And it's a weird color palette. It's like brown, yellow, and green. I don't know why they went with that color, because there's a Hispanic lady in, like, this movie, and she's actually brown. So I'm just kind of like, well, why isn't the black people brown? Why are they this weird olive type color? Like, I don't get it. And so, I like, when it comes to this movie, there are times like, because you always got your ranking system, and when it comes to these animated movies and stuff from back in the day, I still say the Batman Beyond one is by far the best. And when it comes to this one, I don't know. It's like sometimes I wonder, is this better than Phantasm, or is Phantasm better? Because Phantasm was a really good movie, and it felt like an actual real live action type movie. But I don't know. There are just some things in Phantasm that just, it worked, but it didn't for me. Like when Batman was like investigating Phantasm, it was almost like he wasn't, but he kind of was. He was just going about his normal day life, and every once in a while he'll bring up like, oh, Phantasm, and like, who is this person and stuff. Whereas this movie is very much in the vein of Batman being a detective. He's trying to find out who is Batwoman. And he already like ruled out it's not Selena Kyle. And of course, it's not Barbara Gordon. But I think this might be canon because of the simple fact there are some nods to the New Adventures and also Batman Beyond, because the Batman Beyond movie came out before this one. And then this is why they had that bat symbol looking very similar to her. See, the bat symbol on Batwoman's chest is basically the Batman Beyond one, just not as big, and it's more like squished, kind of like Nolan's bat symbol was. And it's also pink instead of red. But it's basically the same thing. It's just not as, the wings are not as raised up high as the Batman Beyond one and stuff. And the nods to the whole, like, Batman Beyond series and the whole canon and all this other stuff is like, the suit is basically the Batman Beyond suit. It's just a different color palette, and it has a cape and a different belt and everything. But it's basically the same suit, it's just silver and not black. And you can actually see the seams and the lines of the gloves. Also, there's a nod to Barbara and Bruce's relationship, the one everybody hates the most. There's a nod to that because, like, she's all like, you didn't get like a new partner, did you? 'Cause I thought we were, and then like he makes an excuse to like get off the phone and stuff like that, indicating that they have a relationship. Also, Tim Drake is in this movie. He's the Robin in this movie. And if you remember, he was brainwashed by the Joker at a young age, and it caused a problem with him and Bruce. And Barbara said that, Tim tried to like continue as Robin, but Bruce like wouldn't let him after a while because they had a falling out. And there are some goons, some gangsters in this movie, to where one of them's all like, I miss working for the Joker. And then this other one got pissed and he just like broke something. And that made me think, oh wait, is the Joker dead now? Because remember, in this universe, the Joker did die when Batman was wearing this costume and Tim Drake was Robin. But then there are the events of Justice League. And that confuses me a little bit. But when you follow these movies, then it's probably indication that at one point Bruce wore this outfit in the New Adventures. Then he later went to the Justice League outfit, and then went back to the New Adventures outfit because of the simple fact Bruce Timm decided to make that Harley Quinn movie. Oh god, that was a terrible movie. And like Nightwing's in it, and like, he has that different hairstyle but the same outfit, and it's canon. And so yeah, so probably this movie is canon, unlike Superman, the Brainiac movie. Now the voice cast in this movie is amazing, and we get introduced to a bunch of new characters because you have to figure out who is Batwoman, of course, and there are 3 new women in this whole universe, and you have to determine who it is. And so like, but also the voice cast comes back, but there are some people who got recast. Ah man, it's hurt watching this. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. Ah, the true Batman, boy. I tell you that right here. Oh, it hurt hearing his voice so bad. May he rest in peace. And man, may Ephraim Zimlist Jr. I can't say his name no more. Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., the dude who voiced Alfred, may he rest in peace. May Bob Hastings rest in peace, who was Commissioner Gordon, because he passed away. And, man, so sad that those 3 are gone. Now, Penguin is in this, and they still use the New Adventures design, but they recast his voice. And I remember when I heard his new voice, I was really irritated at first. But then I realized something. Oh, may he rest in peace as well. Like the new voice actor for Penguin. I think even the original one might be dead too, I think. But like David Odin Stillers, may he rest in peace as well. Also, man, this also hurts so more. John Vernon, yeah, may he rest in peace. The voice of Rupert Thorne. Rupert Thorne finally returned to the animated series because he was completely left out of the New Adventures. And so they kept his design relative the same. He's just a little bit more wider. The lines are more defined, but they gave him a card motif, which was weird. He's always shuffling cards or flipping cards, but it's something he never did in the animated series. And I don't know why they did that, because it doesn't add nothing to the movie. It just makes him look cool, but like whatever. But yeah, they recast Penguin in this. And then at first, like I said, I was irritated because I was so used to the one from the animated series. But when they did the New Adventures and they redesigned everybody's look, the original voice actor just didn't match the look of the new design, because the newer design was like the old-fashioned design from like the comics and the Adam West show and everything. So this new voice actor, he does fit the look like a lot, and I appreciate that. They also recast Bane, and at first, I don't know how I feel about the Bane voice, but because like the original dude had like a very smooth voice. But this time they actually cast a Latino actor to play Bane. And it's Hector Elizondo. I'm not sure how to say his name. And this is the first time we ever heard Bane speak Spanish, because he is Colombian and stuff. But he only says like a few words in Spanish, never a full sentence. But then in the one in Young Justice, that one actually spoke like Spanish. So I was happy that they actually got like a Latino to actually voice that of Bane. So I'm not sure what the race of the original dude was and stuff. But like I always liked his voice, but this one it grows on you and stuff. And it's really cool how they introduced Bane, because there are a lot of villains in this movie, but the way they incorporated them made sense. Although Rupert Thorne never made no sense in this movie, but I understand why they wanted to bring him back. Now they recast Tim Drake, and he is voiced by Eli Maureen Tall. I can't really say his name. Um who is this dude? I remember him from somewhere. His voice sounds so familiar. He's somebody. I don't think he was. Yeah, he's from the American Pie 2 movie. He played Stifler's brother, the younger version in the first two movies, but he was never the adult one and stuff. And so they recast him because the original voice actor just probably got too old and his voice started sounding probably a little deep and, stuff like that. And so somebody, did they recast somebody else? No. Okay. So, but then they introduced like a bunch of new characters, like I said before. And this is the first time I ever heard Kevin Michael Richardson voice. He plays Carlton Duquesne. He is a gangster in the movie and introduced for this movie and this movie only. He's never been reintroduced in any other project. None of the Justice League stuff, none of the animated movies. He's only specifically for this movie, as well as his daughter, Kathy Duquesne, who is played by Kimberly Brooks. And they do such a great job in this movie. They sound like father and daughter. They actually sound like black people voicing black characters, which is normally in animation. Back in Batman the animated series, there weren't that many black characters, and whenever there was, they didn't really sound all that like black, like lingo and the tone in their voice and stuff like that. But these actually sound black, and she even says mama, which is something a lot of black folks say, especially in the South, and people in the South say it. Kelly Ripa plays Dr. Roxy Ballantyne, and I love the sound of Kelly Ripa's voice. I remember her from All My Children and stuff, But I will say her voice doesn't match the lip sync of like the character in the movie, so that kind of got on my nerves. There is Detective Sonia Alcana, and she is voiced by Eliza Gabrielli. And like this character, Sonia, Rocky, Kathy, and like Carlton, they're only for this movie and this movie only. They never re-showed back up for like anything else. And it kind of sucks because like, I don't know. It's just they were so memorable in this movie. I wanted to see more of them, especially how they had Sonya, the detective, dressed like Renee Montoya and stuff from the New Adventures. I will say, when it comes to Rocky, they based her looking like Chloe from Smallville. Like, she looks just like Chloe, but with like barrettes in her hair. They gave her barrettes. Because she's supposed to be kind of like not necessarily the youngest, but she's kind of like the more like nah, she's not the most playful, but she's like the klutz and everything. And I think that is it for like new characters that they introduce and stuff. Now, Paul Williams, the original voice of the Penguin, for whatever reason, he didn't return. And it's because Alan Burnett said that like he wanted to experiment with like different voices and stuff and have a more threatening voice. Bruce Timm, like I said before, who did not work on this, said he would not have recast Williams and stuff, but he respects like Alan's decision. And I gotta say, the new voice actor, he sounds the way he looks and stuff. Nightwing sadly is not in this, and this pissed me off a lot. I mean, it pissed me off because I'm a Dick Grayson fan, you know what I'm saying? And sadly, like I said before, John Vernon and Bob Hastings, this was their last role before they died, and that really sucked. And so, yeah, the events of Return of the Joker did happen. The flashbacks did happen in this. They just haven't been forced to quit yet. And it's an interesting, like, short film. It's a silent short film called Chase Me. And it's really cool. It was written by Paul Dini and Alan Burnett. And of course, it was directed by Kurt Gita again. And so basically, what it is that it's Catwoman stealing something, and Batman chases her all around Gotham. And you hear jazz music playing and piano music and stuff, but nobody ever says like a word. It's a fun little thing. Now, one thing that's really cool is that there's a singer, a French singer named Cherry. Well, that's what she went by when she tried to make music in America, when she put out an album. Cherry performs the song Bet You Never, which is the song you hear at the Iceberg Lounge and at the end credits of the movie. They even animated the singer into the movie, which was really, really cool. However, she's a French-born singer, and now she stopped going by the name Cherry and goes by her real name, Cindy Alma Uzuzi. I cannot say her name. I've never listened to her music outside of this movie, but I really want to. It's on YouTube, and I'll check it out one day because I'm really curious. To hear what she sounds like. I got a little distracted. I'm on the computer and I just read that Matthew Lillard is returning for the voice of Shaggy in the new Scooby-Doo project. Actually, it doesn't say voice or live action, so I don't know which one it is, but that's cool he's coming back because he's been the official voice of Shaggy for like over a decade, but they have recast him for younger roles and stuff like that. Batwoman is the newest vigilante to enter Gotham, and she's trying to stop an armed shipment from that of like Penguin, Rupert Thorne, and Carlton Duquesne. And so, like, during this shipment, she stops them, but she's very ruthless. See, unlike Batman and his Bat family, she's willing to not necessarily cross the line, but tiptoe like over it and everything. She's very aggressive. She blows like all the evidence up, and it's to send a message to the three gangsters and stuff. Now she has this really cool glider that she flies on that I just love to death. She has batarangs, and at one point she has a grappler, but the grappler is very similar to that of Batman, so I don't understand why the animators did that. And so Batman sees all this and tries to save the people who were the gangsters that are about to get blown up and die and go over, I think maybe the bridge or something like that. And, he realizes, crap, there's a new player in town and this person's willing to actually go there. So he has to stop her by any means he can. And, it's interesting that she's this dark because when it comes to the Kathy, this is so funny, Kate, Kathy, and all of them. Kate, when it comes to Kate, it's funny how all these names, Kathy Duquesne, and then there's Kate Kane from, the comics and stuff. And, it's funny because she's very edgy as well and everything. And so Batman does not want her running around because with that symbol on her chest being a bat and calling herself Batwoman, people assume that she's associated with him. And he doesn't want to tarnish that reputation that he's built in Gotham. And so it's a really good detective movie where he's just looking up leads and this and that. And so the cool thing about the movie is that, like I said, there are 3 new women in town and you have to guess which one it is. And so when he tries to stop her at one point, they get into a fist fight and he's blocking her left and right, and then she ends up kicking him dead in the face. Like, dude, you're supposed to be a martial artist. What's up? Now, one thing that's interesting about this movie is that they still have the old-fashioned handguns and bullets and stuff like that. But for these newer weapons that are getting shipped out, they're plasma weapons that shoot out lasers. This is the first time we've ever seen laser guns in Batman, the animated like series type stuff. It normally doesn't happen until like Justice League. And maybe a little bit in the New Adventures with somebody, I think. I can't remember who. Maybe Firefly or something. No, that's the Batman. Anyway. So, while you're trying to figure out which three of these women is Batwoman, they kind of give you some obvious clues as to who they are. Because after the fight, and after she blew up a like, you know, weapons factory place that was like, you know, because it's like a regular factory place, and then it's like underneath it's like the gangster stuff where they build weapons and everything. And when she flies away on her glider, she goes to the Kane penthouse and everything. And so it's like pretty obvious. I'm just like, come on, writers. That's pretty giving it away who she is. She has to be Kathy Duquesne and everything, right? And so, like, because she literally went to the penthouse and everything, and that was Batman suspected as well. So as he's beating up the goons and everything like that, you know, Carlton Duquesne comes out and he's all like, get out of my house and blah, 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 stuff like that. And so when Batman talks to Commissioner Gordon and Bullock and Sonya and stuff, he's all like, he thinks it's Kathy Duquesne. And so he starts to follow her in real life as Bruce Wayne. And when he follows her, like, you know, this is the cool part of the movie. There's a romance in this movie. It's so good to see Bruce fall for somebody again, you know, because we haven't seen that in a good long while. And since he's falling for her, then he's cheating on Batgirl. Oh my God, I just realized that. And so Kathy Duquesne is a very playful woman. She's rich, she's an heiress, and her father's a gangster. Her mother died by a drive-by shooting because they tried to kill her father. And she hates him for that. She hates his gangster business and stuff. But she loves the money and she spends it as much as she can. And she's always running from, like, you know, the bodyguards. And like her and Bruce are literally just like running through the mall away from the bodyguards in a playful manner. They're driving away really fast and everything. And it's so cool to see him in love. And for him to fall for a black woman of all things, that was shocking. And, you know, so like they're out by like this cliffside and there's like the water and it's a beautiful location. Now, one thing that's interesting is that since this is set in the continuity of the New Adventures, at one point it did have the red like night sky, but then they get rid of it for the rest of the movie. It's only shown briefly, and for the rest of the movie it's a regular normal sky. But as the sun is setting, it's kind of like purple and it's just so beautiful. And so he suspects that it's her. So when he goes on a date with her, she wants to go to the Iceberg Lounge. And of course, the Penguin owns that. Now that's always that cool recurring gag of like Bruce being there and some like villains all like, oh, Bruce, I haven't saw you in a long time since, you know, I robbed you that one time. And it's like, oh, that must have been years ago. He's like, no, it was yesterday. So they still do that. And I like that. And so while they're there, he's doing his gangster stuff. Now, Rupert Thorne doesn't play much of a role in this. And like, what's his name? Penguin, they're pissed at Carlton Duquesne because Batwoman keeps messing up their operation and he's supposed to be the muscle. The Penguin operation in this is that he has the factory. The money comes from Rupert Thorne and the muscle comes from that of Duquesne. But Duquesne isn't flexing his muscle as good as he needs to because his goons keep getting their butt kicked by Batwoman. And now Batman's gotten into this and stuff, and Robin. So Batwoman is there overhearing his conversation because he wants to bring in Bane and everything. And so like she gets caught. She fights like his female goons and everything. And so Bruce changes into Batman. Now at this point in time, Kathy's in the restroom because he said something to piss her off. And the craziest thing is that while Batman is like, helping Batwoman and stuff, she let him know that, she's, no, I don't think she set off a bomb in this one. She set off a bomb at Penguin's like manufacture plant and stuff, because she's always setting bombs, right? Because she's always blowing up the evidence. And so, like, as Batman's doing his thing, he realizes something. Kathy Duquesne literally comes out the restroom as Batwoman is there at the nightclub. So he is beyond confused. So it's like, and I was confused when I saw this. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And so at some point, he's at like Wayne Industries, right? And we get introduced to Roxy and everything. And she has like, she's like an inventor, she's a scientist, and she invents this really space age like metal that is in the form of a ball, and when you throw it, actually you can make it take whatever shape you want it to. Cause like you just have this little pen type thing and you can just do whatever you want, make the coolest art and stuff, right? And so Bruce is intrigued by this metal and wants to use it for his Batman stuff. And so he takes her out to dinner. And when he takes her out to dinner, like, the bat signal shines and he has to leave. Now, Roxy, her boyfriend is in jail. He was set up by that of the Penguin. And because of that, he's going to spend about anywhere between 20 to 30, 40 years in prison and stuff. And he wants her to stop coming by the prison and seeing him because he's not going to get parole. And he doesn't want her to waste her life. But she's all like, it's my life and I'll waste it however I want to. Because she's madly in love with him and he was framed. And the thing about Batman, he suspects her because back at the Iceberg Lounge when he was fighting like, penguin goons and stuff, Batwoman used that weird metal stuff that Roxy invented. So he suspects her. And of course we do too, because it's the most likely person. Like, how will she be able to get her hands on that, right? And so like when Batman goes to her place all mysterious and everything, hiding in the shadows, she senses somebody's there and then she starts busting out some martial art moves. And he's all like, those are some pretty good moves for like a computer geek and everything. And so she's all like, well, I take self-defense like everybody else. So he really does suspect her and he warns her that whatever game she's playing, it's going to have dire consequences and stuff. But there's a problem and stuff. The problem is that when he looked at video surveillance, when Batwoman blew up the shipment of weapons, she was working late at Wayne Industries and everything. So if it's not her and it's not Kathy, then the next suspect has to be Detective Sonia. Now, Detective Sonia is barely shown in the movie, and she's working with Bullock like as his new partner and stuff. And so basically there's a scene where she's down in the subway and she sees a Batarang, Batman's, and she starts playing with it. Well, it turns out she's a huge Batman fan. Get it? And so like, she tells Batman why he's her hero. He saved her when her building caught on fire when she was younger, and it's the fire that killed her parents, giving her a motive to doing all this. And Batman suspects that as well. And so she's just really thankful and everything for him and everything for what he did. But there's nothing indicating other than like, her playing with the Batarang and being a fan of his and thankful and everything. There's nothing to indicate she might be like, Batwoman other than that. But then it turns out who set that fire was the goons of Rupert Thorne when he was doing his gangster stuff back in the day. And the police just kind of looked the other way and she never got justice. So she is the most likely suspect to be Batwoman. And what's interesting is that when Batwoman shows up in her little hideaways under the sewers, she's there and she's talking to that of Roxy, talking about Batman's own to her and everything, and that this is getting a little too heavy for her and everything. Then Kathy shows up. So it's like, oh, all three of them are working together. So they must be funding, like, Batwoman. And then so Batwoman takes off her mask, and it's revealed, of course, to be Sonya. So it's like, oh, so Sonya is Batwoman and everything. But that's weird. Her voice sounds different when she's Batwoman. And she's voiced by a completely different actress when she is Batwoman, because she's voiced by Kara Sidrick. But then it's revealed there's not one Batwoman, there's three. That was a huge loop and everything that blew my mind. Because, I was expecting only to be one person and one person only. I wasn't expecting it to be three, and they take turns and use a voice modulator and everything. And so all three women have like a vendetta against all three gangsters and everything. With Sonya's parents dying in that fire by Rupert Thorne, for Roxy's boyfriend being incarcerated by the Penguin, and then of course Kathy just doesn't like her father and everything. And it's really crazy. And so Batman, he's in the Batcave and he's just pissed off and everything because, he can't figure out who Batwoman is, and it's driving him nuts. And then Alfred is all like, she doesn't have the ability to duplicate herself. And then that made him think, what if it's not one but three people? So he has Robin do some research and everything, looking into the backgrounds of all three women. And so, that's one thing that's been bugging the crap out of me in this movie. Batman's utility belt. It's the same one from the New Adventures, but it's missing the strap, giving it that Batman Beyond type look. And it drives me nuts, and I hate it, and I just wanted to point that out. And when he gets up from the computer, you see the strap all in its glory. Then, of course, it disappears later. Anyway, Robin sucks at doing detective work. Oh, by the way, Robin doesn't really have a role. He's literally just a sidekick in this. And it's nice to see Robin actually do stuff. We get to see him train with batarangs. We get to see him do acrobatics, because of the stuff that happened with him in the Joker and everything. And he's helping Batman out the best way he can. So that's like really, really cool and stuff. And, but like I said, he sucks at doing detective work because Batman goes to Kathy Duquesne's place of all people, and he sees her drawings, and Robin's all like, I can't find no connection, but Batman finds it out. Kathy drew Sonya. So after doing some more research, he meets up with Sonya, and he's all like, you went to college with Roxy and everything, and she introduced you to Kathy, and then y'all all hatched a scheme to do this, but you were the brains of the operation because you had you influenced these two young women and everything. And so at this point, Sonya is about to shoot Batman. She reaches for her gun. I tell you, she is ruthless. She might be a Batman fan, but she will straight up shoot this man and everything. But there's a problem. Roxy contacted her. See, while all this is going on, Bane is now taking over the operation because that's what Bane does. And he's trying to figure out who Batwoman is as well. And Batwoman shows up, the Kathy one. And he captures her and everything as she's trying to blow up the yacht that they have. And so because she didn't call Roxy in to let her know everything's okay, Roxy suspects something's bad's going on. So Sonya tells Batman that, and him and Robin go on out there to save her. And then we see both we see Sonya and Roxy all dressed up as Batwoman. So it's cool to see all three Batwomen on screen, but you only see two at a time for the most part. And it's also cool to see them without their masks. I love seeing superheroes without their masks. And to further give it that more Batman Beyond feel, all three women end up losing their capes and stuff. I'm telling you, man. And there's a huge battle and everything. Penguin and Rupert, they all decide they're just gonna get on out of there. And as for Duquesne, he's being held hostage by Bane to lure that of Batwoman. And so when Batman rescues her, she still plans on blowing up the place. And so it's a cool action scene between Bane and Batman. It's a worthy fight of those two, where they both get the upper hand on each of each other. And you have like the other two Batwomen, they're out flying their gliders out on sea, trying to help Robin take down Thorn and Penguin and stuff. And there's even a point where one of their gliders get hit and Sonya falls in the water. And this is that scene where I say it might be a nod that were there like more to their relationship than just friends. Because when when Rocky rescued Sonya, she placed her hand on top of Sonya's hand, and they just look kind of loving almost. And I think somebody asked the actress this a long time ago, and she just pretty much just said Sonya can be whoever she wants to, and that's just a badass and everything. So she didn't confirm it, but she didn't deny it either. And so I think there was something hinted. And as you can tell, Kate Kane in the comics is a lesbian when she was created 3 years later and stuff. And Batman, he's just whooping on Bane, and it's just cool to see. But Bane's like, screw this, it's time to juice up, man. And he just whoops on Batman. And so the place is like blowing up and everything from like the bomb, and Kathy saves her like father and stuff. And then Sonya, see, Bane's all like, look, man, I got plenty of time to whoop on you, even though this boat is about to like crash and burn and go down on the sea. But then Batman uses that special metal and everything to cut his tubes on his venom tubes, and then he pretty much knocks him out. But Batman is dangling from his grappler, and his ribs are broken and stuff. So as he fell, Sonya catches him and everything. And so Bane, he's falling in the crash and everything. You see explosions, but we know from Batman Beyond, Bane lives and is comatose because he's been living on venom all his life. And so when Bullock sees who Batwoman is, he is shocked to find out it's Sonya. So pretty much the ending is like this. Penguin, Rupert Thorne, and Carlton Duquesne, they're all in prison. Roxy's boyfriend got out, and because Batman helped he gave Sonya some evidence that will prove Roxy's boyfriend's innocence. Sonya got fired but doesn't go to jail. Roxy doesn't go to jail, and Kathy doesn't go to jail, even though they're vigilantes that have literally tried to blow up people and kill people and stuff like that. But hey, whatever, I guess. And so Roxy happy her boyfriend's out of prison, and Bruce shows up at the very end of the movie to return the car of Kathy Duquesne, and they go on a final date and everything. And it's a great way to just end the movie. Everybody got their happy ending and stuff. Don't know what happened to Robin at the end. He doesn't have a story whatsoever in this, and Barbara just got cheated on. But yeah, this is a really good movie to watch. It still should be on HBO Max. It also might be on Tubi because HBO Max sold a lot of their DC properties to that of Tubi because they need the money. But yeah, and it still should be somewhere out on DVD unless it's out of print, but I doubt it's out of print. But yeah, this is a really good movie, and it really keeps you guessing as to who Batwoman is, which, just like I said before, blew my mind when I found out it was all three of those ladies. I wish to God they would bring, instead of bringing back that Harley Quinn New Adventures of Batman movie that they came out with that was terrible, why couldn't they bring back Batwoman, man? Reintroduce this version and everything. And I just want to see more of her, and I want to see more of Batman Beyond too, which he's going to be in that Crisis movie that's coming out soon. And the craziest thing, back in 2003, you didn't hear people scream the word woke. Here's 3 Batwomen who all are strong, smart, and capable of handling their own. One's Hispanic, The other is like black. And I remember when they decided to make Batwoman black in the CW, people were furious. They was mad. They were saying it was woke and everything like that. But we had a black Batwoman before and a Hispanic one, and nobody complained. And it just makes you. And then the thing is, they can always revisit those movies and complain about it, but they don't because they just do it just to, like, make money off YouTube and get clicks and crap like that. Even Roxy even says that she's thankful that Bruce Wayne can appreciate a strong, intelligent woman and everything. That would have made people furious nowadays if she would have said that. But back then, people did not care. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, well, I'll talk to you later. Bye.